If you're a winger and if you keep on losing the ball out on the side, this video is going to be for you. Too many times I see players running down the line, and when they're trying to protect the ball as the defender's coming, we are taking the touch towards the defender, meaning we're running into the defenders. And that's just not the safe way or most efficient way to protect the ball. In this video, for the sake of it, I'm going to be working as a left winger. Let's just visualize that we're getting the ball from our fullback. Then we're doing this, and when the defender's following, we're doing that. Notice how that ball goes inside and I'm getting disconnected from the ball. And that's because of the momentum of my approach, right? Obviously, I'm going fast, and that touch, that technique doesn't necessarily help me to keep the ball safely when the defender's coming to close me down. So think about it this way. As I'm coming this way, if the defender's coming here behind me and I'm turning to protect the ball because I think he or she will get in front of me to defend, right? Or simply get in front of me to win the ball. So that means I cannot cut into that direction because it's always going to get intercepted. So we're going to go over a few different techniques to learn how to protect the ball safely in this situation. And the first thing is going to be a Cruyff. So a very simple technique where we can receive on a half turn, keep on going, and about here, you keep it behind you. Why is this effective? Well, it's effective because if the pressure is coming this direction and I am pulling the ball behind me, meaning if she comes here or he comes here, that ball's behind, I'm in the way, in between the ball and the player, meaning this ball is always going to be protected, right? So if you do the right technique of the Cruyff, you can always protect the ball safely. Get it out, whoop, there. And notice how I'm not making a full motion, but it's rather a strong flick, so the ball comes out laterally. And that's going to help me to make my second action, whether I go inside or down the line one more time, or even face the player. So let me show you all of those examples. Inside. Down the line again. Protect the ball. Face the player. So in terms of facing the player, what we want to do, because a lot of times we are dribbling straight, and that limits my angle to this direction, or at best maybe cut this way, but it has to be really sharp, which honestly, if you're playing up against a really good defender, it's going to be very difficult. He's going to try and filter you out to the smaller space, which is not ideal, especially if you're playing on the left side and if you're right-footed, chances are you don't really want to go down the line, cross it with your left. You probably want to cut inside, right? So how do I make it where I can attack both sides 50-50 and make it difficult for the player that is in front of me defending? Well, when you carry the ball, instead of just running directly into that space, making it a foot race, what you want to do is, if there's a space in front of you that you first have to take to advance, that's good. But as you come closer, what you need to do is slow down and carry the ball with your inside. So there, receiving, touch, and carry the ball, carry the ball. And that body shape here is going to help me to go there and also there. So I'll give you two different examples, right? So first one, we're gonna run down the line, which you have seen a lot from my examples, right? A little change of speed. Let's try and go inside. Why do we want to do this? The first thing is going to be carrying the ball on the far side, and the second thing is going to be having a good body orientation. So by having the ball on the far side, I can always protect the ball. And it's easier for me, especially this being my dominant side, it's going to be a lot easier for me to control the ball in tight situations. Second, the body orientation. Because I'm facing not down the line, which then is limited in terms of direction I can attack, but because I'm slightly in an angle facing the defender like this, I can change direction anytime. So when you carry the ball, or as you get closer to the defender, just slow down and start carrying the ball with the inside, because it's easier for you to slow down and show a change of speed in that sort of element of surprise, but it's a lot more difficult for you to travel fast and go faster, right? So slow down, bang, change your pace, change your direction. as you approach the player. Right everyone, my online community is available where I provide one-on-one performance analysis calls and also exclusive training videos that have not been released on YouTube. There's also soccer-specific physical training and different training resources, so go ahead and check it out. Link is down below. Now the next technique, slightly more challenging, but it's going to be inside, which again, I cover in this video here. The concept is really similar to the Cruyff. As you can see, a very similar concept to doing a Cruyff. The idea is by pushing the ball there, it gives me a little prep touch for my left inside to do the Cruyff, or that touch. The subtle difference between those two techniques is actually on the Cruyff, we get the ball out of our body first and then big motion to that touch. Whereas this one, the difference is we keep the ball closer and then we gotta push it out, then we gotta take that touch. So if you're not comfortable doing this technique at speed, at stationary, try pulling it behind. 2 touches. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that's gonna help you to execute this technique better and better. Okay, so the next one is going to be not necessarily facing the defender, but we're gonna get a little bit more negative in terms of body orientation. What's gonna happen is, as we are approaching this space, we're going to turn this way, naturally keeping my body in between the player and the ball. And I'll show you a few different ways to exit on this technique as well. It can be a very useful technique, but let's take a look at the basics first. Right, so as far as this technique goes, you want to rotate your body first, and then in the mid-air, you want to flick that ball to change the direction. So let's see if I can recreate that for you. And it's the rotation of the body that's going to help me face where I came from. A little bit more pace. Notice how it's more of a flick than an actual big touch. Now let's take a look at some variations. The idea of that technique was to come to a pause and then show the intention of my direction being there, and then I do the step over to send the defender committed more here, and then I'm gonna skip out to the space behind. All right, the last technique, it can be a little bit contradicting to the idea of not turning into the player, because everything has been either pushing the ball behind so it's hidden, or I'm keeping my body behind or in between the ball and the player to keep the ball hidden, right? But instead, this one we're gonna face forward, but we're gonna use an outside hook. But the key thing here is going to be that you have to pull the ball slightly backwards by placing your foot in front of the ball, so that way it gets pulled towards you or towards the sideline. Obviously, the defender is going to come from in front of me, or secondly, trying to defend the space that is going to be, closer to the goal. So the idea being, by doing that technique, I can create that little separation and immediately put my body in between, again, the player and the ball too. And I especially like this technique when I have just a little more space between me and the player to ensure that even if he's reaching for my ball, he cannot get there. Slightly backwards and then inside. And because the ball is going to be close to my foot, it's easy for me to change the direction into any space I would like to at any time. So let's give it a go one more time. Just focus on my right foot being in front of the ball. So now, that was slightly different because when I did cut the ball, it was laterally done, but I managed to take my second touch really fast, and that was the one where I pulled it backwards, and the third was touch inside with the inside. So maybe I can try that again. And in, and it can go wherever you want. So there was a multiple different ways as a winger to protect the ball from an incoming pressure. Don't turn into the player. You've got all these tools and skill sets that you can use to protect the ball. Utilize it, keep the ball safe, and become a better player.